Okay, so as we discussed, okay, today we'll cover the templates in Angular. There are like nothing much, like 3 to 4 tags will be available, not tags, the directives, right? So directives will be available for handling templates. So let's see how a template will look like in Angular.
Mhm.
Okay, so template will look like this. It will start with ng hyphen template. Okay, in order to create a template reference, you can just type ng template and close this. Okay, this is basically kind of a custom HTML tag, or we can call directive. So whatever you write here will not be rendered in the browser. Okay, let me show in the browser. Okay, you see, whatever I typed here, it's not present. Let me comment other stuff. See, this is not getting displayed, but if I type outside, it will come here. Okay, so whatever I put inside template is not visible in the browser because this will not be added to the DOM, document object model. The reason and the uses of this templating is like ng template is you can basically create a reusable HTML, a reusable piece of HTML, a reusable piece of UI inside this ng template, and then you can use, you can give a reference like this. This is a variable, okay? Just like how we define a TypeScript variable, right? So we can basically assign a reference to the template. In situations like, let's say you have multiple templates, then you must have a way to identify each template, right? So in that case, you can give some template name, hello template. Okay, what this one do is it will just print hello world, and I want to use this HTML across my application, not application, maybe in the same component. Okay, now I can use this reference. Okay, I'll basically display it. So how I can display it? We can basically, if you are using template, so template must be associated with structural directives. Okay, simple example, we'll take div tag and we'll add structural directive as ng if, then if true, then say paragraph tag print hello world. Okay, so now because the condition here is true, it will print whatever text I typed here, right?
Mhm.
So I want to handle else conditions also. If that condition is not true, then I can put colon and else I'll give this reference. So now if it is true, it will print this. If it is false, it will basically try to render this template inside the ng template tag. So whatever inside it, so whatever I highlighted, right? So this one will be rendered. Now if you go to the browser, we'll still see print hello world because the condition is true here. Let me change it to false. Now you see hello world is coming.
Mhm.
Okay, there is basically uh, DOM wise there is no difference. Basically, it is rendering. If condition is true, then it is rendering this one. If condition is false, it is rendering the different template. Okay, so now I can use this template anywhere in my component. Okay, So mostly what we'll be doing, right, in real-time scenarios, we'll be creating these templates at the end of the HTML, and we keep keep them there just for reference, and that reference we'll be using inside our actual HTML. Just like, we'll be keeping that pieces of code separately, and we use it whenever we need it. Okay, so I to represent it better, I created a simple example. Okay, let me comment this out. Let me comment this one, and let me uncomment this one. Let me comment this one also. Okay, so now if you go here, oh, we have to remove this one. Now I in the TypeScript file, I created a I created interface. Okay, this is what we saw in TypeScript, right? So while we are working on TypeScript, so I created interface of student type interface, and I have 4 fields: name, age, gender, and marks. And here I have student list of type student, this type. Okay, so I will have list of students. Now in it, I'm initializing my student list with the student data. Okay, 5 students data. Okay, we can add one more student. So the advantage of creating this interface, right? So we cannot we can go ahead without this interface also. But the advantage is you can define the type here. Otherwise, you have to define any
Yeah.
any array. So that will also work. But for better for better typing purpose, we use the type. Now here, if you try to say control space, then you'll get the suggestions like what are all the fields inside it, right? So just like when we are defining the routes, it will show all the path component, all those things, right? Same way. So now I created 5 students, and let me go to my HTML. And this HTML table I copied from the Bootstrap table. Okay, I went there and I just copy pasted this entire thing. And now I have these 4 headers. Headers are static, right? So I gave the static names, like hard-coded names. But when it comes to the data, I'm using this student list from my component, this one, and I'm saying I'm using ng for, because it's an array, right? So we have to use for. So for each student from this list, so this syntax is ng for syntax. Let some local variable, you can give any name of student list. Okay, so I gave student as local reference and using student.name, student.age, gender, total marks. Now these are the 4 fields I have on each student record, right? I have only four fields: name, age, gender, total marks. But if we see here, we have 5 columns. Is 4 along with status of the student, whether he is passed or failed. So in such cases, I have to create another row. I mean another column, and I add a status here as a header. And here what I did, I used its span tag and I added class attribute, and this is the Bootstrap class for showing the badge, right? This badge, green color badge. So now if ng class, trying to use the ng class directive for showing or like adding the CSS classes dynamically, right? So what I'm saying, this syntax is object syntax, right? We saw this syntax, like you can have ng class directive, and then you can create basically object. You open object here, you close object here, and then this is the key in the object. So if student total marks greater than 75, then add this CSS class to this list. I already have badge here. So I'm trying to add BG success, background success. That means green background. In case of only if student has greater than 75 marks. Okay. Now, so this is just for adding the CSS class. Now, I added one more condition, ng if condition, which also checks for the same condition. Ng if student dot total marks greater than 5, then print this one. Okay. If in student marks less than 75, it will not do anything, at least in this example. So that's the reason this person has marks greater than 85. That's why I'm showing it as passed here. And if you go to the HTML and see for this one, see it added badge. Badge is hard coded anyhow. We are not adding badge dynamically. That is static value. And this BG success is getting added here, right? If you can see here, yeah, BG success is getting added because the condition is true. The condition is greater than 75. Now, this is for adding the class, and this is for showing this entire section. So if this condition is failed, right, then it will not show this one.
Mhm.
So we can basically simplify it. Div. You can remove this and we can put it here. And let me move this down here. Now we have, yeah, now we have better. So if this condition is true, then we will try to render this one. If this condition is false, then it will not do anything. I think we can remove this also. We don't need this. We can hard code it here because condition is true, then only we'll come to this one, right? Otherwise, there is no point of checking this condition. Perfect. This condition is true, more total marks greater than 75, then it will show passed badge with a green background this way. Now I want to use failed for failed students. I mean, not failed, maybe student who has less than 75 marks. I want to show a different color. Okay, what I can do, I can basically copy paste this, and instead of less than, I can use, sorry, instead of greater than, I can use less than or equals, and then instead of batch success, I'll say batch danger or warning, and I'll say failed. Okay, now it is working perfectly, right? So if it is passed, it is showing green background. If it is failed, it's showing yellow background with the failed text. But this is become basically, this become a little messy, right? So if let's say you have multiple conditions, you'll keep on writing those conditions. So instead of that, what we can do is we can remove this. Let me cut this and let me remove this. Okay, I'll keep some, I'll create some ng template here, out there in the bottom, and I'll assign failed reference here, and I'll write my template inside it. And then I come here, I can put colon, else failed. So if this condition is true, it will come here and it will display this. And if it is false, then it will show failed. So failed is here. So if I click on control and tap on control and click on it, it will go there. So wherever it is in the template. So now what will happen? See, so same behavior, but now if you go to your table, you have a cleaner code. Okay, so mostly this will be used for showing empty state, meaning let's say you have a student list, but the student list is empty. So instead of showing empty empty table with all these columns, you can basically show a placeholder box, and there we can say the student list is empty or something like this Wrangler, right? So yeah, if you see here, this is empty, right? So this is basically not a good user experience. So instead of what we should show some empty state. So empty state meaning, if you go to Angular directly, get started, see here something like this. So I did not select any item in the left, but I'm not showing empty value here. I'm showing this entire state, right? This is called basically empty state or something. So so this will be displayed. So this will basically look cleaner, or like from user experience point of view, it will be good. If you search for empty state in Google Images, right, you'll come to know like many what we can basically do. In case of 404 error, basically in some website, right, they'll show image and they'll basically show page not found, something like that. So those are called empty states or error states. So those states we can display using this template references, because they are not actually part of the business logic. They are part of user experience, right? So business logic we can keep here, but those empty states we can basically write in templates, and we can render that based on whether value is empty or some list is list is empty, or like value is null, um, some value is greater than or less than a certain number. So in those cases we can basically use ng template. So not only for that one, let's say you have a model pop-up. So if you go to Bootstrap, and if you go to the components and model, so yeah, if you try to render this one, you have to keep this HTML somewhere, right? So the one showing in the pop-up box. Obviously you cannot put inside this page. So wherever you put that this HTML, it will be executed and it will display this box somewhere in the page itself, something like this. It will display like this, but we don't want that. So basically we want this model pop-up to be coming whenever I click on some item, or whenever I submit some form, something like that, right? So in those cases we can keep the HTML of this form, not this model, in ng template, and when user clicks on this, then we'll show we'll go to that template with the reference name, and then we'll show it. Okay, in basically ngx bootstrap or ng bootstrap, right? So there we'll have this kind of stuff there. So basically we can put this entire HTML inside a ng template, and we give a reference name, and then we access that reference name in our TS file. Okay, I'll show that how we can access, and then we can basically call the model ng model service to show the pop-up. So this is one use. The other use is, as I said, so if you want to access this one in our template, sorry, in the TS file, you go here, you can basically create a view child, and then we can define some variable failed template of type template reference. Okay, now that will be coming whenever your application is running, right? So that template, failed template, will be coming, and that reference will be here. So inside here, if you want to use somewhere, you can use it, but currently our example doesn't support using this reference. Okay, mostly in the case of showing model windows or showing some content dynamically from your TS file, then you're gonna get the reference of that template, and you can do whatever you want. Now, yeah, now this is done. So this is ng template, right? And the other thing we have is ng container. Okay, ng container also same thing. Instead of template, it will be container. Container. Let me comment this, and now I can say p hello world. Okay, it is saying the property fail does not exist. So let me remove this here. You see the difference, right? So we are using same reference variable, but let me change this to, okay, let me change this in the here failed reference, and in here let me change the failed reference. This should work. Yeah, so we are not using this failed reference, okay, but we are using failed reference from our TS file. But TS file is basically again listening to the having the reference to the same template. Okay, this is another way of accessing ng template inside your component class or your TS code, and then you can use this reference anywhere you want. If you are doing something in your template code and then your TS code, then you can basically use that here. If you're not using, you can use same reference in the template directly like this. So if you see, whenever we assign this variable here, whenever you say hash and assign some name, then Angular internally will create a template reference object. Okay, this one, template ref object. So this object is basically valid only in certain cases. Okay, so let me go here. Let me create a div tag. Let me create a div tag here. Okay, say dummy template, and let me assign same reference here. I mean, create a reference out of this variable. So I can say dummy reference. So this is basically valid in Angular. I mean, you can create a reference for any tag, but only thing is this cannot be allowed here. See, this is showing error because it will create a what is that, the reference, but the of type HTML div element. Okay, so basically it is giving native element reference. It will create a native element object, right, inside native div object or div element in browser. So it is giving that reference here, but the ng if else expects template reference. Okay, so it is giving us this one, but we want this one. In order to get template reference, this section must be a ng template like this. It cannot be anything else. It must be ng template. Then only here it will accept. Okay. And the second thing is ng container. ng container okay, mostly ng container will be used to render template data. Okay, it's like a container object for a piece of HTML. So if you take this example, we have ng template outlet attribute for this one. Okay, so this one expects a template reference. Okay, that string is not assignable to template reference, so this one accepts a template reference variable. So meaning you can basically I actually created a couple of template references. Okay, so template 1, template 2, template 3. So now I can assign template 3 here directly. If we go here, I can see template 3. So what I have in template 3, in template 3, I have a div tag with background yellow. BG warning means yellow background in Bootstrap, right? So this is trying to render this template in here. Okay, it is not rendering here. So here nothing is getting rendered. This is basically, it will not show all these three things in the browser because it is enclosed in the ng template. But when we have this ng template outlet, you are basically having an outlet for any random template. So basically I assign template 3 here, and I'm telling this ng container to render this template in here. So now if we go and see, it is rendering the template 3. If we change it to template 2, it will show template 2. So you want this to be done dynamically, you can do that also. So what you can do, create couple of links. Okay, let me remove this. So I have break is not working. Let me create a div and let me add some margin y4. It will add some space. Yeah, so now I added 3 buttons. One is danger button, success, warning. That means red, green and yellow. So I wrote a click handler, and a click handler is calling the change template method, and in change template I'm passing template reference object. Okay, if I hover it, it's showing, right, the template one is of type template reference, and for the second link I'm calling with the template 2, and the third one I'm calling with third template. And whenever I'm passing this into the change template method, the change template method must receive that template reference type object, and basically it is changing the local template reference. I have a local template reference, and this is assigned to nothing here, so this is empty now. So whenever I click on that link, it will basically pass that reference dynamically, and I'm overriding this template variable with the template reference. So now this template reference I can use in my ng template outlet here. Okay, so now whenever you see, there is nothing is getting displayed, right? So I can let me refresh it. So nothing is getting displayed because by default the ng template reference is empty here. I don't have any value in it. So because of this empty, it is rendering empty thing. So it's not rendering anything basically. Now if I try to click on the red template, it will show the red template, because here when I click on the red template button, I am passing template 1. Template 1 is coming from here. The same way the second link passes template 2. So template 2 is this one. The same way template 3. So now if I click on this one, it will change. Okay, so this is how we use ng template outlet, just to project templates, ng templates dynamically into some section. Okay, so all those templates are rendering inside the div tag. You can go and see, inspect. This is my div. It has m by 4, right? So this one. So inside that only, it is rendering the template based on whenever I click on this one. So if I click on, yeah, I think this is already ready. If I click on green, it is changing dynamically. If I click on yellow, it will change. So this is another example how we use ng templates and ng container together. Okay. There is one more thing related to this template container and this attributes, that is called content projection. Okay, so like most of the times we'll be rendering components like this, right? We open a tag and we close a tag for given template, given component. So now this is a app component, quiz component. So this is a quiz component. Now whenever I do this, there is nothing in it. Let me comment this. See, I just commented the buttons, so it is not showing this one. I mean, it will basically show the empty div anyhow, but it is not showing this one, and it is not showing the ng templates also, right? So basically nothing is showing. But in here also, you will not see. In the DOM also, you will not see. You will see only these things: container, these comments. But that is not added to the DOM. So whenever you add it, either using the ng template outlet or either using the if else condition, then only those templates will be added dynamically into the DOM. DOM means here. Now the coming to the content projection. So mostly we'll be using components like this. If we go here, the hello world is getting displayed. That this hello world is coming from quiz component, and close others. Quiz component, and we are showing that quiz component inside your app component, right? So in some cases, some rare cases, you might want to pass some template or some value from your parent component. Okay, and this is from app component. Let me save it. Okay, so nothing will happen because this is basically ignored. Okay, so this is basically ignored. So the app quiz component is here, but whatever I write here inside my app quiz component is not getting rendered here. So the reason is it will basically replace your app keys, the inside the app keys, right? It will replace it with the content from the template HTML, this one. But in order to basically send value, I mean send content from here, but show in your child template, what you can do is you can use this ng content directive. So this one basically what it does is, so whatever coming from here will be received into the quiz component, and it will look for this ng content tag, and wherever this ng content tag is there, it will try to replace that with the value between this tag app quiz. Now you see the this text is coming from the app component, but it is getting displayed inside your quiz component. Okay. You can basically wherever, like you can do you can have anywhere container class row div class, inside row I can have columns, right? So let me say call to column, 2 columns. Let me put my ng content there. You see, it is changed. Basically, my row length is this one, and inside that this is my column length, 2 column length, and inside that I'm rendering the data which is coming from parent component, app component. Okay, but mostly we will not be doing this in real scenarios because components, I mean, we will not pass this data. It's not required also. We will not get any situation to do this. So yeah, I think we're done with the 3 template related uh, topics. Okay, one is the ng template, the second one is ng container, and the third one is ng content. So the ng content is for projection. ng template is for basically separating out the templates which are reusable, and ng content is for again like a projection, but it will project the templates, ng templates. So any questions here?
No, I'm good.
Okay, cool. Also this one, right? Instead of passing from here, we can do one more example. Okay, so here what we are doing, we are basically, let me remove this also. So yeah, now I am back to the example. So instead of, why I have to here? Acha, okay, let me remove this. Okay, so now instead of passing references from here, what we can do is we can create references for this ng template inside our TS file like this. Okay, now I have this variable pointing to the template one. This is to template 2. This is to template 3. Okay, now what I can do, whenever this method is called, we don't need to take that reference. So this dot template, you can say template 1. This change template 1. Change template 2, change template 3. This is this dot template 1. This dot template 2, 3. This dot template 3. Now let me go back to the HTML and change this template 1, template 2, template 3, and let me remove this reference. Okay, there is no difference. Only thing is the way of doing is different, but Angular point of view, there is no difference. It will work both cases. Okay. So in this example, you will be getting references to your templates inside your TS file. But earlier case, in the template itself, we can get the reference by basically using the same variable name which we gave here. Okay, but the previous way is much simpler and neat way of doing it, instead of creating 3 variables and using this view child to get the reference to it, and then creating again 3 methods, right? So this is basically a bit like verbose way of doing it, but earlier way was much better. Okay, so I think we're done with this template concept. Yeah, we done with the ng template, container, and then template outlet to render the templates. Yeah, done. And getting a template reference in class using the vchild and reusing templates. Yeah, I think we're done.
Mhm.
Any questions before?
No, I'm good.
Okay, cool. Let me stop the recording.